KTV studios following a Steelers win on the road. That's 2 on the road, 1 loss at home. And here we are, Bob Pompiani along with Chris Hokey 76 after kind of a weird football game today. 21-14. The Steelers started very fast. They ended in a good way, but in between there was a lot of stuff that has to be corrected, certainly. But right off the bat, Chris, they came out and they moved right down the field on a drive that was 8 plays, 54 yards. They get it back after a turnover, 12 plays, 90 yards, Metcalf touchdown. So 14-0, it looked like it may be a blowout. And then turnovers, missed plays, everything took over the stage.
I mean, listen, and the Steelers came out aided by a turnover, takeaway by the Steelers defense, drove down the field, and then 90 yards down the field, Bobby talked about that, but it was aided by penalties, it was aided by mishaps, but the Steelers found a way to win into the game. I always say, Coach Cowher used to say to us, we start fast and finish strong. Steelers started fast with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. They struggled in between the last drive of the game, but they went down and scored the game-winning drive to win this game, and it was a gutty performance on the road. It's always tough to win on the road, and the Steelers have 2 already this season.
And Drake May's a pretty good young quarterback. He had his moments today, but he also turned the ball over a couple of times. He did, and then, boy, Ramondre Stevenson had a bad day, also 2 lost fumbles. Aaron Rodgers right now is live at the podium, and let's take you there to hear what he has to say after this win.
Came out second half, I made a terrible throw. Defense just kind of stood on their head all day, but you know, I thought the first 2 drives were really good rhythm-wise, and we just couldn't find that rhythm in the second half.
Aaron, you did it at the end. What's that say about the offense resilience and stick to it in this one?
I mean, it's what we're supposed to do. You know, we got to make those plays. So we're not in those positions. You know, 14-0, we're feeling pretty damn good about ourselves. You know, we haven't been in the head by 2 scores yet, and 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, starting fast for the 3rd straight week. But you know, I just didn't play great, and we kind of lost our rhythm, had too many penalties and negative yardage plays, and didn't make them pay when we had opportunities.
Was there something about the Patriots defense you found especially challenging?
Well, I mean, they throw a lot of different things at you. I felt like they were kind of in a 2-shell to start the game. We kind of ran it at them pretty good the first couple of drives, and they adjusted, and we just didn't make enough plays. You know, we had some penalties, had some bad throws, and but they played kind of how we thought they were going to play. They're a tough group. They're well coached, and they were sticky in coverage.
Passing 5 with the Rivers for some milestones today. Where does that rank on the list of accomplishments made today?
I mean, not super duper high. You know, it means I played a long time. I grew up and, you know, Niners quarterbacks were my favorite, and then Brett, and then I got to play with Brett. I was drafted the year after Phil Rivers. Had a friendship through the game with him for years. Loved watching Phil play. You know, just his mannerisms, his lack of swearing, trash talk. You know, Phil was one guy I really enjoyed watching on tape, and the only guy to get out of the Pro Bowl with an excuse that he had his 8th or 9th kid, I think, right before that. So good to be mentioned with those guys.
Aaron, what's it like to see when a guy like Jabril Peppers gets to come face his old team and make a big impact play in a game like that?
All right, that's Aaron Rodgers after the game. And for the game, Rodgers, 16 of 23, 139, 2 touchdowns. But like you said, it was a fast start. They scored on their first 2 possessions. That whole first quarter was dominated by the Steelers. After that, it flipped. And why did it flip? Especially, what did New England do defensively to change the momentum?
Well, we saw
of
the
this
complete
game?
change, right? What happened the first 2 drives, Aaron Rodgers said it, the Patriots came out with 2 high, which meant they were playing with 7 men in the box. The Steelers were able to get a hat on a hat, and a lot of times having an extra hat, extra blocker. In the 3rd drive, they switched and brought another safety down the box, meaning 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. The Steelers had to get a hat on a hat or short a hat, meaning blockers on defenders. It made it much more difficult for the Steelers to win the one-on-one battles and to run the football. And for the rest of the game, until that last drive, the Steelers really struggled at the line of scrimmage to get any kind of protection for Aaron Rodgers to run the football against that 8-man front. And those were the great adjustments. That's why I believe, Bob, that the Patriots went on 4th down so many times. They believed that they had the Steelers' number, and the Steelers couldn't move the football, so they were confident and going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, they were 4 for 5 on 4th down when they had the football. Overall, 10 of 18 on 3rd and 4th downs. That's just not a recipe that you should have if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers defense, because you're giving up those significant plays. And with regard to Rodgers, though, he did have the 1 interception, which, again, you addressed that with what they did differently, and it looked like it was an obvious throw. But after that, he did a pretty good job, especially on the last drive when they had to. Again, started fast, ended fast, in between not so much. But what did you see overall from his efforts today as you take a look at Rodgers' day?
I thought he started out and played well. He started to get frazzled a little bit in this game. He was getting hit a lot. Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu were both getting beat continually by Harold Landry III and also by Chason. They were both beating them off the edges. He was getting hit, and you can see at times getting frustrated, yelling at his O-line because he could get up and his elbow was hurting him. So, I mean, they've got to clean that up, Bob. They're going against a really tough Vikings team, a lot of good teams in the upcoming season. They've got to be able to protect Aaron Rodgers, or he's going to have a tough time making it through all 17 games.
Yeah, no question about that. Vikings, by the way, were winners today. They dismantled Cincinnati 48-10. We'll talk more about that. We'll also get into some of the stuff that happened with regard to keys to the game, because there were some significant changes of momentum in this game. A lot of turnovers by New England. As I tweeted, they were wearing red and white. They looked like Santa Claus at times with 5 turnovers, and that's the way the Steelers did it. They took the ball away at critical times. We'll get into that and more as we continue. We are live right now in our studios today at Gillette Stadium. The Steelers come away with a 21-14 win. First time they've won there since that guy was quarterback, Tom Brady, back in 28. It was actually Matt Castle back there in 2008. We'll be right back.
Steelers Extra Point is presented by RE/MAX. RE/MAX, voted the most trusted agents in real estate.
All right, welcome back as we continue with our Extra Point show. Steelers win today, so they're 2 wins, 1 loss, heading to Ireland coming up on Sunday next, and it'll be a 9:30 a.m. kickoff for that game. Let's take a look at today's scoring summary, and you'll understand why this was. It looked like a fast start for the Steelers. It might be a blowout anywhere. Kenny Gainwell with a 1-yard touchdown run after Jalen Warren had did most of the running down to the goal line. A nice play call there to get that done. Then it was Aaron Rodgers with a nice pass to DK Metcalf, went up, took it away from the defender. 2 possessions in, it's 14-0. And then everything changed. Drake May got going, 5-yard score to Hunter Henry. And boy, has he been a thorn in the side of the Steelers over the years. Another one, 16 yards to Henry. So it's 14 apiece. That happened in the 4th quarter. Then the Steelers get the final one with 2:16 remaining. Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Austin, 17-yard connection. But, you know, there are so many turning points to this game here, Chris. And to me, right before halftime, New England is about to score. They go 17 plays, 92 yards. And Cam Hayward, who was really good today, got his hand on a ball, slightly deflected it right in the hands of Brandon Echols. And without points there, you thought it was going to be 14-14 at halftime. They get nothing. And then right after that, start of the next quarter, 3rd quarter after halftime, what happens? Well, Robert Spillane steps in front of an intended receiver and returns it, and they look like they're about to score again when Ramondre Stevenson fumbles caused by who? Cam Hayward, and Peyton Wilson recovered.
Bob, last week we talked about A players got to step up and play A ball. What happened today? Cam Hayward had a sack and a half. Cam Hayward caused 2 turnovers, right? Stuck his big pop in the air and tipped that ball for Brandon Echols to intercept it. Stuck his paw out there again to cause the fumble. That was recovered by Peyton Wilson. 2 takeaways that prevented the Patriots from getting any kind of points. That was the game to me right there. A players, TJ Watt stepping up and having 2 sacks in this game. That's what you need, especially when you play on the road. These are tough games to win on the road, and they went in Foxborough and did it.
Another guy who played today for the very first time was Derek Harmon, and he immediately got in a sack game, and I thought he was good. He was running down players as best he could. He hasn't played in a long time, but you saw the potential the Steelers liked with him. Number 99 was doing a good job.
Well, we call this in football fresh legs, right? He hadn't played since the middle of training camp. He hadn't played the first couple weeks of the season. His legs were fresh. They weren't tired from all the snaps, and he went out there and he showed it. He hustled. He came in. He had a nice tackle, and when he ran down a screen, had another half sack. He caused a lot of havoc there at the line of scrimmage. I'm excited for him to go and watch the film and get a little bit better next week and play well against the Vikings.
Well, despite all those turnovers, the Steelers took the ball away, but it's remained 14-7 until New England finally did go down and score to make it 14 apiece before the Steelers won the game. Mike Tomlin earlier, just moments ago, spoke to the media after the game. Let's hear what he had to say.
Man, it's great to win in the National Football League. Appreciative of the efforts today. Certainly required 60 minutes of effort in all 3 phases to get it done. Certainly there are a lot of things to work on, but it's good to do that with the win. Couple things of note. I thought we started fast offensively, but then we stalled out, obviously, particularly in the second half. But a lot of credit goes to New England and their defense and what they were doing. They were major components of that. Defensively, I thought we were really tight. in the red zone and things of that nature. I thought we could have been better on possession downs. Thankfully, we took the ball away from them to alleviate some of that lack of possession down success. But all in all, it was a good team victory, man. We fought for 60 minutes. We utilized a lot of people, specialization of talent, division of labor, things of that nature. Still finding our way, with the number of new people and people out and things of that nature. And so it was a good experience. No significant injuries to mention. Slay missed some time in the game with a leg contusion. I think he was able to get back in and finish. Same with Broderick. But we'll stack this one. Questions?
Mike, two big takeaways down there by the goal line. How big was the one at the end of the half?
Huge. That's why we spend as much time practicing down in that space as we do as a collective. We got to be great on defense. In the effort to win the point swing, we got to be great on offense. And when you take the ball away, man, you get all 7 points. Usually you're fighting for 4. But, man, those takeaways, particularly down there, were big.
Mike, do you see that as technique, as some of the things you're working on in practice with the punching and stuff like that?
No question. We spend a lot of time on our ball search culture. But it's just words. It's an agenda. The efforts of the guys make it real, not only on Sunday but during the course of the week. And, just felt like we were headed toward a good game in that area just by the way we worked this week in that area.
Mike, the passing game wasn't really clicking, but at the end, boom, 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 right down the field, Aaron makes the plays.
And that's oftentimes the case, man. You can it cannot be going the way you desire, but you better have enough emotion. You better have enough belief. You better stay the course in an effort to do it. You can say the same thing about the defense in New York, and we were able to finish it at the end. Same thing with the offense.
Tomlin after the game going with the Hokey Bro look there. No hat this week.
Bald head, right? It's always looking good.
Anyway, they got the win. It's always nice to get the win. They're 2-1 in what's going to be a tough division, even though the Bengals got trashed today by Minnesota 48-10. I want to ask you about the middle of the field for the Steelers because, they're in a situation where they're week in and week out, it seems like they're running free in the middle of the field. We saw Hunter Henry today, more than anybody over the years. He's played now 4 career games against the Steelers, 1 with the Chargers, 3 with New England. And in that time now, if you add today 8 catches, he has 19 catches and 6 touchdowns in 4 games. And it seems like it's too easy for him at times. What are they doing, or what are the Steelers not doing?
If I can just add what you were saying, it seemed like at times the Steelers were playing a prevent defense, giving everything underneath wide open. There was a miscommunication on several passes. As they talked about this week, that they got to improve the communication. Even Juan Thornhill kind of complained about the noise in Acrisure Stadium. They're on the road now. It's quiet, and they're still having communication issues. Hunter Henry was open on several plays, and they were able to get the ball to him to convert third downs, to move the chains, to score touchdowns. They've got to improve there because these guys are running wide open in the middle of the field, and has linebackers and safeties got to figure this thing out, because if that continues to happen, they're going to struggle to win ball games and get offenses off the field.
The other thing that happened again was another 119 yards on the run game for the opponents. That's been a trend, and it just continued while the Steelers could only manage 26 for 60.
Welcome back to Steelers Nation Wire, where every Sunday we live and breathe the black and gold. Steeler Nation, let's talk about what just went down in Foxborough. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't flashy, but it was historic. The Pittsburgh Steelers walked away with a 21-14 win over the New England Patriots, and Aaron Rodgers, even on a night when he admitted he didn't play his best, etched his name even deeper into the history books. This is the kind of game that leaves you both frustrated and proud, angry at the struggles on offense, but beaming with pride that our defense reminded the entire league what Steelers football is all about. Aaron Rodgers stood at that podium after the game and didn't sugarcoat a single thing. He didn't hide behind cliches. He didn't pretend that a stat line of 139 passing yards was good enough. He looked straight at the cameras and by extension at all of us and said, "We were terrible on offense after the first 2 drives. I didn't have a good game." That's accountability, folks. That's honesty. That's a 41-year-old quarterback who has been to the mountaintop and isn't afraid to admit when he falls short. And you know what? That's exactly the kind of leadership this team needs, because you can only fix what you're willing to own. Now, let's not gloss over what really happened out there. The defense saved the day. Again, 5 turnovers. 5 times the Patriots had the ball ripped away from them. 5 moments where it looked like New England was about to flip the game on its head, only for Pittsburgh's defense to slam the door shut. Cole Holcomb punching the ball out. Peyton Wilson falling on a loose one at the goal line. Nick Herbig stripping Drake May when it mattered most. Jabril Peppers pouncing on a fumble. This defense was everywhere. TJ Watt got back on the sack sheet, Cam Hayward disrupted up front, and Chuck Clark made plays in coverage. They weren't just bending and not breaking, they were ripping the ball out and telling the Patriots, not today, not against us. That's what makes this win special. Rodgers admitted he was off his game. The offense never got into rhythm after those first drives. The ground game gave us a meager 64 rushing yards, and yet, because of heart, hustle, and relentless defensive intensity, the Steelers found a way to win. That is Pittsburgh football. You can have all the flashy stats in the world, but at the end of the day, it's about making the plays that matter when the game is on the line. And here's where the story gets even more powerful. Even on a night where Rodgers called himself terrible, he made history. His touchdown pass to DK Metcalf wasn't just another score, it was touchdown pass number 509 of his legendary career, moving him past Brett Favre for sole possession of 4th place on the all-time touchdown pass list. Let that sink in. Rodgers surpassed his old mentor, the man he learned behind in Green Bay, on a night when he admitted he wasn't sharp. That's like getting promoted on your worst day at work. It's almost poetic. That's the mark of greatness, not just the highs, but achieving history even in the lows. Think about what this means for the team. It's one thing to win when everything's firing. It's another thing entirely to walk out of Foxborough with a victory when the offense is sputtering, when the opponent outgains you in yards, when the critics are already warming up their takes. The Steelers are 2-1. They could have easily been 1-3, but they found a way. And now they head to Dublin, Ireland to face a red-hot Vikings team led by Carson Wentz, who just demolished the Bengals 48-10. That's the next test. And make no mistake, this offense has to figure things out because we can't expect 5 turnovers every week. Even the greatest defenses can't carry you forever. Rodgers knows it, Tomlin knows it, and the players know it. But here's the beauty of what Rodgers showed us after the game: honesty and accountability. He didn't throw his receivers under the bus. He didn't point at the line. He didn't say the play calling was bad. He said, I didn't play well. That's refreshing in a league where too many quarterbacks deflect blame. And for a team trying to build a new identity around both old legends and young stars, that kind of ownership can be contagious. The challenge now is to turn those words into action. Rodgers will need to elevate. Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell will need to run with more authority. DK Metcalf will need to stay that reliable weapon. And the line, the coaches, the play callers, they all need to step up. But let's not forget what we saw in this win: resilience, determination. The Steelers defense reminding the world that no matter what critics say, this is still a team that can win ugly, that can force mistakes, that can rise when the lights are brightest. That is the DNA of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if this offense catches up even halfway to what this defense is showing, look out, because then we're talking about a team that no one will want to face in December or January. Steelers Nation, I want to hear from you. What was the biggest moment of this game for you? Was it Rodgers making history with touchdown number 509? Was it TJ Watt getting that long-awaited sack? Was it Calvin Austin's clutch touchdown catch in the 4th quarter? Or was it simply seeing this defense rip the ball out 5 times and refuse to let New England win? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, smash that like button if you believe in the grit of this team, and make sure you subscribe right here to Steelers Nationwide so you don't miss a single breakdown, a single reaction, or a single moment of Steelers football all season long. This wasn't perfect, this wasn't pretty, but it was Pittsburgh football. And at the end of the day, history was made, the standard was upheld, and the black and gold walked out of Foxborough with a victory that will be remembered not for style points, but for heart. And that's what it means to be a Steeler.